When installing a conventional CSRS with a lap and shoulder belt, pull the shoulder belt so the lap portion of the webbing will tighten to hold the CSRS. Most lap and shoulder belts on school buses have a locking latch plate. This part makes it easy to install a CSRS because when the belt is buckled and tightened, it will hold the lap belt portion at a fixed length. Nearly all lap and shoulder belts on school buses made since late 2011 have this type of latch plate. If you're not sure a latch plate is a locking type, you can check it by buckling it and then pulling upward on the lap belt webbing as shown. If that webbing lengthens, additional steps that will be covered later will be needed. In this video, we'll demonstrate installation using this type of latch plate that doesn't slide through, so it will lock for proper CSRS installation. This is the type found on most school buses in use today. Infants often ride in rear-facing only CSRS. If the base will be used, first check the instructions about the correct angle. If the base features a recline adjuster, like this gray part, it's usually necessary to stow it before installation. School bus seats are flat, so they rarely require adjustments to increase a CSRS's recline angle. Set the base on the bus seat, and if necessary, slide the seat belt's shoulder belt height adjuster upward. Route the lap and shoulder belt through the belt path. And buckle the belt. Push down on the base while pulling on the shoulder portion of the belt. Remember to pull smart, directly away from the latch plate so that slack will slide out of the lap portion of the belt. Notice that it works best to pull close to the latch plate. Now check the base for tightness and check the recline indicator. Make sure that the carrier fits onto the base properly, fitting between the bus rows and clicking securely into place. Pull upward on the carrier to confirm it is connected. Note that the handle is locked in an upright position. If instructions allow this position for travel, using it can be useful on a school bus because it makes it easier to fit the CSRS between the narrowly spaced rows. Although nearly all rear-facing only car seats come with a base, and this part is usually used in passenger vehicles, a baseless installation is often preferred on school buses because it requires less space. Most models allow this method, but always read the instructions to confirm. Set the CSRS in position and, if necessary, slide the seatbelt shoulder belt height adjuster upward. Instructions and labels on the CSRS will say how to route the lap and shoulder belt. Most models say to route it as shown, with only the lap portion of the seatbelt going through guides on the carrier and crossing the child's seating area before being buckled. It's a good idea to look at the recline indicator and set the CSRS at the correct angle before tightening, though this will be rechecked at the end when it can be further adjusted as needed. Now, while pushing downward on the CSRS, pull on the shoulder portion of the webbing to remove all slack. As usual, pulling close to the latch plate and directly away from it will work best. Check for tightness by pushing and pulling at the belt path, and if needed, continue tightening until you find less than 1 inch of movement, and recheck the recline indicator label. To install a rear-facing convertible CSRS with a lap and shoulder belt, first follow instructions to set the angle. Here we must rotate a recline adjuster outward since the CSRS will be rear facing. Place the CSRS on the bus seat. On many models, it helps to detach the padding from the front of the CSRS and pull it back to expose the rear-facing belt path. Now we're ready to route the seatbelt through the belt path openings. If necessary, slide the seatbelt shoulder belt height adjuster upward, then route the lap and shoulder belt through the belt path. Be sure to check the instructions to find out whether the seatbelt should be in front of or behind the crotch buckle. Here we've checked instructions and made a correction. Buckle the belt and check that the belt is flat and untwisted. Now pull on the shoulder portion of the seatbelt while pushing downward on the CSRS to tighten it. By pulling inside the CSRS like this, rather than outside of it, it will be easier to get the belt to tighten. Check to make sure the CSRS doesn't move more than an inch by pulling and pushing on the CSRS near the belt path. Replace the padding. Note that the lap part of the belt has been pulled tightly and doesn't sag. Also, this CSRS has an arrow embossed in the plastic that says it must be level to the ground when rear facing. So checking that, we can tell if the angle is correct. For a forward-facing CSRS installation using a lap and shoulder belt, set the CSRS in position and route the lap and shoulder belt through the forward-facing belt path, which runs behind the seated child's back. Buckle the belt, being sure the belt is flat and untwisted. Now, while pushing downward on the CSRS, pull on the shoulder portion of the seatbelt to remove slack from the lap portion. If necessary to fully tighten the belt, pull the CSRS fabric back so the shoulder belt can be pulled more freely from within the seating area. Check for tightness by pushing and pulling at the belt path. If necessary, repeat the tightening steps until the CSRS moves no more than 1 inch.